Hello everyone, the time has finally come. It is New York Tech Week. This is my favorite time of the year. There are hundreds of events throughout the city focused on startups, tech, investors, VCs, finance, and so much more. And I've always just had such a great experience learning so much and meeting amazing people. And this year, the event is going to be bigger and better than ever. So I look forward to taking you along for the journey. If this is your first time on my channel, then hey, my name is Galbraith. I'm a finance professional here in New York City. I also make content about finance and startups and investing and all of that fun stuff. So definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of that content. But tonight is Sunday, so I guess it's technically day 0 of Tech Week because day 1 is Monday. And tonight I am about to head down to the East Village for a kickoff party for the week. It is hosted by Andrew Yeung at the Lumos House. This is something that he's done in a few other cities. He rents a mansion for about a week and then kind of hosts panels, fireside chats, parties, all of that in the same place. And so this is my first time going to a Lumos House location, but I've gone to plenty of other of Andrew's events and always have a great time. So grateful to have been invited and just look forward to kicking off what is going to be an amazing week. So with that, let's head down to the village. Good morning, everybody. It is now Monday, which means it is day 1 of Tech Week officially. Today is going to be a busy day, but still relatively less busy than the rest of the week. I'm about to head into the office now, and then later on in the afternoon / evening, there is an event on Lexington Ave, so it's pretty close to my office. So it's just kind of like a 5-hour session at this one startup's office. They're doing a lot of different panels and mixers with drinks and networking in between. So definitely want to stop by there if I have time, but the main priority will be the event after that. So stick around to see what that is, but wanted to update you on how last night went. I had a great time at the Lumos House. This was my first time going to a Lumos House event, and it's just always a really cool opportunity to go and meet people in a bit of a different setting, just because it's literally a house, typically a mansion that's rented out, and so it's just a little bit of a different ambiance than, you know, the typical maybe rooftop for a bar or even like a company's corporate office. So I had a really great time there, was able to get back relatively early and have a good night's sleep so I could make the most of the week. I've said this before, but I think Andrew just always does a really great job of curating a fantastic crowd. Everyone I meet is always, you know, really accomplished. They're a founder, an investor, or, you know, working on something really cool. And so that makes it easy to have good conversations because everybody is interested, everybody's curious, and everybody has an interesting story to tell. So that was a lot of fun last night, but now it is time to head to the office. So let's go. Tech Week day 2, let's go. Today is going to be a bigger and longer day. I actually have an event that I got invited to at the Dell headquarters here in New York. So that is in the afternoon. So going to go to that. And then after work, I have several things. I have something at the Nasdaq. And then later on tonight is the Bullet Pitch event. Bullet Pitch, if you're familiar, I've made a video about them. I also had their founder on my podcast, so definitely want to make sure to stop by that and say hi. But I'm running a bit late, so it is time to head to the office. let's get out of here. All right, it is now Tech Week Day 3. Tonight is going to be a busy night, as if the last few days haven't been busy enough. Yesterday, I had an amazing time. So to break down what I did in the later morning, early afternoon, I went to the Dell for Startups headquarters. It was a pretty intimate office tour. They took us around the space, showed us all of the capabilities that they have to offer between themselves, as well as the actual NVIDIA team was there. So it was really interesting to learn more about the culture at NVIDIA. Obviously, that is the talk of the town these last few weeks and months. So that was just really educational for me. A lot of the information kind of went over my head because it was talking about really technical GPUs, AI, all of that stuff, but always good to be in those environments and learn a bit. And then went back to work, and later in the afternoon, I went to the Nasdaq headquarters in Times Square. This again was a conversation focused around generative AI. This was a much larger event. It was a really cool time. They were talking about Anthropic and AWS, and there was just a lot of information coming at me again, but it was cool to be in that room, met a lot of really just ambitious and interesting founders. I also saw some familiar faces, so that's always a nice part of it too. And it was capped off with a nice happy hour out on their terrace overlooking Times Square. So that always makes it a little bit nicer too. And then from there, later on in the night, then I was still not over. I then went to the Bullet Pitch Venture Virality event. If you remember, I had Brett, the founder of Bullet Pitch, on my podcast a few months ago, so I wanted to go to that and support him. I also had a few other friends going. This was definitely the bigger event of the night. There were hundreds of people there, and yeah, it was just a great time. Obviously a little bit more social and not as educational, but still, whenever you're in a room with so many interesting people, you always end up learning a lot. So had a great time there, but it ended up being a later night than I probably anticipated, just because I was so far away from my apartment. It was all the way on the west side of Manhattan, so it took me a little bit longer to get home. So yeah, I think the week is kind of starting to catch up to me at this point, but we got to keep going. Today's gonna be a big day. I'll update you at the end. Let's go. Day 4, somehow we made it to Thursday. It has been an extremely busy week. I feel like I haven't had time to breathe the last few days, but I am making the most of all of these events, getting to just meet so many interesting people, learning a ton, and so that makes it all worth it. So yeah, yesterday was a busy day. Started at 10 a.m. At an event with an organization that actually does something very similar to what my team does at JP Morgan. So it was interesting to go there. That was all about building out your board, so both your advisory board and your independent, your governance boards. And so it was just interesting to hear other people's perspectives on that, especially on kind of the venture and the private side, because a lot of that information is private. So it was just good to get some clarity there and some confirmation in other areas too. So that was good. That was in the morning. And then fast forward to the end of the day, went to a Techstars powered by JP Morgan event in the early evening. This was for Techstars Atlanta. So it was their demo day. So it was all of their startup founders were presenting their pitches. I unfortunately was only able to hear, I think, 2 of them, but everyone was super polished, and they spent the first 45 minutes or so talking about the Techstars program and kind of the impact that it makes on its founders. So it was really great to hear that story. Fortunate that JP Morgan has such a strong partnership with them. But after that, I headed over to another event with my buddies. This was all about content creation in the age of AI. So it just showed how different creators were leveraging AI to improve their workflows, to improve the final product. And so as a creator myself, I thought that was super interesting. And from there, I cut off from my friends and went to an event at Mr. Purple. This was hosted by Michael from the Andra team. So this was a little bit more of a curated event, but it was a rooftop with an amazing view and some great drinks. There, I was able to meet tons of other founders and investors and really just have some great conversations. It was the last event of the night, so everybody was a little bit more relaxed, worrying less about, oh, I got to get to this next place, and could finally feel a bit settled. So had a great time there, met some amazing people, and ended up actually going out after with some buddies that or some friends that we made there. So it was just a lot of fun, being spontaneous, but it resulted in a very late night for me. So yeah, it is time to head to the office and make the most of day 4. Let's go. Hello everyone, it is now Saturday. I am going to wrap up the vlog here, but realize I have some explaining to do because I really didn't talk about what I did on Thursday. The night started off going down to the Atlassian headquarters. If you're not familiar with Atlassian, they work on a lot of enterprise software tools. I used Trello back in the day when I worked at my dad's law firm trying to implement that. So it was cool to kind of see it all come full circle. But yeah, there was a happy hour there because they're rolling out some products for startups. So they were hosting an event, so got to hear the chief marketing officer speak there. But after that, I ended up going back near the Times Square area because I went to an event hosted by Andreessen Horowitz. It was by the a16z games team. So it is their venture fund that invests in games, creators, like the creator economy, kind of more of the consumer side of things, for lack of better terms. And so that was something that I was really excited about all week, just because those events, honestly, are super exclusive. I hadn't gotten approved for any in the past, so I saw that as a good sign for myself and just the trajectory I guess, of my career. So that was just fun to go to that. Like I said, super curated, so every conversation it was with someone working on really amazing things. There were some very impressive founders there. You saw the one shot the guy was filming because he created this new thing that's going to replace QR codes. And so it was just amazing to be in a room like that. I was learning so much, and also met some great investors too. And that was obviously in a beautiful space at the Skylark, so it was an amazing view of Manhattan, and I think it was really just the perfect end to what was a fantastic week for me. Definitely very exhausting and mentally draining, but I think it was all worth it. And it's just been such a good experience for me to go to this, to go to all these events. And what I learned through this experience, and because I was fortunate to have some friends go with me to some of the other events, and I realized it's not normal to kind of put yourself in these situations where you're walking into a room knowing nobody. And, you know, for me now, I'm kind of used to it, but I was having this conversation with my buddies who were able to go to some of the events with me. That's just like a foreign thing to them, or at least they're out of the habit of it now. And they were just curious kind of how I did it. And I think the way that I always have approached it is understanding that everybody has a story to tell, myself included. It's easy to think, oh, I shouldn't be in this room, imposter syndrome, X, Y, Z. But realistically, you bring value to every conversation. You have your own unique experiences that someone can learn from. And so if you just kind of view yourself from that light and are very just curious and inquisitive and ask a lot of questions, it's amazing kind of the conversations and the impact and the relationships that you can build. So I think this week was just kind of a reminder of that, and also just a reminder of how far I've come since I went to my first Tech Week event 2 years ago. It's also just amazing to see how much the New York tech and VC ecosystem has evolved since then. 2 years ago, Tech Week was 30 events, and this year it was about 800. So that is quite the significant increase, and I think is a good sign for things to come. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I also was posting kind of daily updates on LinkedIn and TikTok, so definitely make sure to follow me over there, connect with me on LinkedIn, and yeah, just stay in touch. If I was able to meet you during Tech Week, hello, welcome to my channel. And yeah, I'm just super motivated for all that is in store. Excited for all that's to come for this channel. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.